Did you know that when I started the MycoGeeky podcast, less than 1% of my audience was female? Today, a year later, it's almost 10%. Our mushroom cultivating community is growing by leaps and bounds, and females are a fast growing demographic. But why does it matter? Well, having females involved in mushroom cultivation brings diverse perspectives, skills, and experiences to the field. Women bring unique viewpoints that can lead to innovative approaches in cultivation, problem solving, and business strategies. Their perspectives can challenge existing norms and contribute fresh ideas to our community. Involving women in mushroom cultivation can be a source of economic empowerment. It provides opportunities for entrepreneurship, income generation, and career advancement. Female cultivators serve as role models for aspiring women interested in entering the field. Their success stories inspire and encourage others to pursue their passions and careers in mycology. Having females involved in mushroom cultivation isn't just about gender representation, it's about tapping into the diverse talents and perspectives that enrich and advance our entire community. So, tonight we sit down with a friend of the podcast to discuss her experiences, get her perspective, and find out how she's carved out her niche as one of the most trustworthy vendors in the community. It's time to get strange with Casey Strange of Basement Culture.
You're listening to the MycoGeeky Podcast, a podcast that inspires people to grow mushrooms at home to improve their mental, emotional, and physical health. Most people call him geeky, and he is a passionate mushroom cultivator, advocate, and educator. Every week, he sits down with fellow cultivators, mushroom educators, scientists, and therapists to discuss the various ways people can approach mushroom cultivation and how mushrooms can be used to improve their lives.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the MycoGeeky Podcast, the podcast that goes deep so you can level up your at-home mushroom cultivation game. I'm your host, MycoGeeky, and tonight we got a great show. It's December, right? It's the holiday season. Everybody's hustling and bustling and doing, 19 different things all at once. And this one, I think we rescheduled this one a couple times. But anyway, we're doing it tonight. This is good. Um, this lady is really just I just love how unique and honest her perspective is. She is a killer cultivator. She is a really trustworthy vendor, and I can't say enough good things about her. I'm talking about Casey Strange of Basement Culture, also one of my favorite vendor names, Basement Culture. It's so cool. It's where I'm at right now. I don't know where you guys are at. I know a lot of you guys are listening to this while packing tubs and, spawning to bulk and doing all that sort of stuff. So I hope you guys appreciate that title as well. It's a cool name. Anyway, before that, holiday season, gotta show love to the people who are showing love to me. My Patreon supporters, you guys are just really great. And I've been trying to do a little bit more for you guys on the actual Patreon page. Hope you guys like that. Definitely give me some feedback in the comments below. If there's stuff you want to see, you can either, message me in the Patreon chat or here or wherever. It doesn't matter. Anyway, if you guys have not considered subscribing, why not? Patreon.com/MycoGeeky. I'm doing this every week. Rain or shine or snow, as it may start to be here in Ohio. Really appreciate all the support. I know it's the holidays. I know you guys got to buy presents, so I ain't mad at you. It's all good. We'll keep it going here. I also want to shout out my Discord mods. Had a lot of people in the last couple weeks join the Discord. It's been great. A lot of new blood, new energy. Love everybody coming in and trying to, make a home there. So really appreciate you guys. Keeping the ship sailing, you know what I mean? Anyway, also want to give a quick update. The mutant grow along, right? We maybe we didn't think it all the way through, and we were talking the other day, and Mick was like, I'm getting there, everything's starting to look good. He's like, but man, it's looking like we would be releasing and starting to ship cultures like literally a week or two before the holidays. Are you sure this is the right time to do this? So I said, nah, you're probably right. We should probably wait. So Not the first week of December, first week of January. So, once you guys recover from your New Year's hangovers and all that stuff, we're going to get the ball rolling on the mutant grow along, fresh slates, New Year's resolutions to grow mutants. We're going to do it. So, sorry to postpone that a little bit, but it's going to be worth it in the end. And I got a little surprise for you guys. We got another mutant add-on edition that will be an option for you guys if you guys are so inclined. It all depends upon how many mutants you guys are trying to grow. So we'll see. Anyway, so thanks for tuning in, and we're gonna pull on an old friend of the podcast here. So without further ado, let me welcome to the show Casey Strange. What's up?
Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hanging out in my basement.
Man, yeah, you and me both. I'm excited for that meet and grow along, by the way.
Yeah, should be fun. Should be fun.
Can't wait.
Yeah, we got I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet, but we got a new mutation, stable mutation, kind of low key, nobody's really paying attention to right now. So we're gonna pull that one in. People got an opportunity to go from like no mutants to like grow all the mutants. So if you guys haven't noticed, the mutants they test high. There's plenty of good stuff in there, and anybody that's continuing their cultivation journey, I think it'll be a good time. So yeah, it should be fun. All right, so what's up with you? You've done a few things. Your name's popped up a few places.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
said,
doing
hey,
it.
let's bring her back on so we can find out what she's up to.
Yeah,
So you went somewhere, right?
lab work. Yeah. So I recently went to the Denver Psilocybin Cup, or the Psychedelic Cup. The first Psychedelic Cup, which is really exciting. It was cool. It was huge. I think there were 500 tickets, but then there were also vendors. It was there were so many people there. It was a huge crowd, a lot of awesome speakers. We had Moms for Mushrooms there, which was awesome. The guys from Altitude Consulting, who provided all of the lab testing, came out and gave us an awesome speech. It was, the setting was kind of odd. I felt like hopefully next year they do something a little bit different, because there were, up top there were all the vendors, and then they were giving speeches down here, so it was like really loud. Anyway, you can go on their Patreon though, Altitude Consulting, if you're interested in essentially these. So there were, I guess I should back up a little bit. There were 511 submissions, which is a big deal. It's the biggest data collection so far, like anywhere ever. So that, it's cool for the whole community, because we just have all that data to draw from now. And I think that's also available on their Patreon for free.
That's great.
It was a great event. It was reminiscent of some of the earlier cannabis cups, minus all the weed smoke everywhere. And that's really the vibe of Denver right now. It seems like everyone from the young adults to the moms and college professors, everyone is interested in mushrooms right now.
Yes.
Yes.
There's not a type anymore.
Yeah, no, there's not a type anymore. That's for sure. It's well overdue.
I remember 2 years ago, all we ever talked about was making wook jokes. Wooks. That's all we ever made jokes about. Man, I haven't even said the word wook in like a year. Yeah, sure, they're still there, but now there's just around. It's everybody now.
Yeah,
you can't
exactly.
even figure it out.
It's everybody. It's a beautiful thing. It's helping a lot of people.
That's exactly it right there.
Yeah.
People, I mean, right? If there's a new flavor of bubble gum, it's like the Coca-Cola, right? Like they have the new flavors like Janine and name it, all this like outer space and all that. You're like, I gotta try it.
Yeah. Oh man, I tried one of those weird flavors though. I was so disappointed. It was not good. Like the first one was amazing, and then they came out with another one. I was like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever.
I'm with you. I kind of liked outer space.
I didn't try that one.
That's the one I liked.
See,
Everything else, no good. So
uh,
mushrooms way cooler than new Coke
yeah,
flavors.
yeah, way
Yeah,
cooler.
way
But I
cooler.
mean, new mushroom flavors every week. Also,
Yes.
man,
Yes.
it's
So
it's wild times.
so I know they did a little talk as well. What were I know they talked about sample preparation if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Kind of, fill me in. What were they talking about when it
So
came to
some
that?
key takeaways from their talk were essentially storage of your mushrooms and sample degradation over time, and the correlation between how samples were stored and the psilocybin content and the psilocin content. So essentially, there's there even cracker dried mushrooms. There's a little bit of water in there,
Right.
and that in that water, oh gosh, I can't. I'm trying to think of the exact breakdown of how the water interacts with it essentially turns the psilocybin into psilocin and then
Yeah.
sort of like repeats this process over and over. Anyway, the key takeaway is you should always be using silica packets or
Yep.
desiccant packs,
Yep.
as well as you could use the what are they called? They're the packs that you put in like freeze dried food. It's an
Oh, okay.
oxygen absorber packs, and the desiccant packs were shown to have a huge impact on the potency, the psilocybin content, or psilocybin, psilocin, as well as the baeocystin,
Hmm.
neurobaeocystin. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
I was.
interesting. The oxygen absorbers. I remember Ed mentioning those for a while, saying, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, oxygen absorbers." And of course, we're all just like, okay, fine, nobody does it." And then one day I look into them. I'm just about to buy them. They're in my Amazon shopping cart. I'm like, I'm gonna finally do it because I'm pretty neurotic about storing my fruit. And then I just happened to be talking to Ed that day, and he was like, "You know what? I actually looked that up and got a little deeper into it, and the whole way those things work is there has to be some level of moisture for them to react. I guess it's an oxidation reaction or something like that." So, but now if what your guys are saying is that no matter how dry we're really getting these, we might not be getting them absolutely dry. So there might still be enough moisture in there to do that.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
And
that's
I mean, especially depending on your climate. In Colorado here, it's pretty dry all the time. But if you're living in a more humid climate and you're not in
right.
an airtight packaging, there's going to be some moisture reabsorption,
Yep.
and that will definitely break down your samples.
Yeah,
That's really strange though that Ed said that, because when I freeze dry things, when you freeze dry something,
you're
it
good.
it takes 100% of
Yeah.
the moisture out, but you need to store maybe you need to store oxygen absorbers in
Mhm.
with your, especially like food or whatever
Right.
you're trying to keep for really extended periods of time, but there's no oxygen, or there's no moisture in those packs. So I'm gonna have to look into that. That's interesting.
Right.
Or maybe I'll just talk to Ed.
Yeah, just
He's
pick his brain.
resourceful.
I think
Yeah.
he's back in Thailand. So I think his visa troubles are not completely solved, but he's back in he had to like go to Malaysia for some period of time and
Oh,
work
I,
on his
I know
visa
that
and all
whole
that.
song
Yeah.
and dance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he had to do that. I have a friend who's doing that right now in another country. Yeah, when I worked in Hollywood, I had an intern who worked for me, and literally one morning she texted me and she's like, hate to do this to you, but I got a notice that basically was like, if I stay one more day in the United States, I'm going to be deported and I'm never going to be allowed back in." So she's
Yeah.
like, "I am currently back in Leeds." So
Yeah.
yeah, that
I know
international.
a lot of the trimmers who would come up, from, I mean, all over the world,
Right.
uh, go out to California and trim for 6 weeks. I had a couple of friends come in from Spain, and they had to go down to Mexico and then
Right.
re-enter the country. Yeah, just to
Right. Yep.
just to like
Yep.
I'm like,
Games,
genius.
just
Yeah,
games you gotta
yeah,
play. Hell, I remember I
Exactly.
wanted to go to Cuba back in the day, and it was all like, you can't go to Cuba, right? No flights to Cuba because
Yeah.
Cuba's communist, blah, blah, blah. And then I had a friend who was like, yeah, bro, just fly to Canada first and then fly to
Yeah.
Cuba from Canada. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, games, cool, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Fun adventures.
the international life. I'm here in boring old Akron, so I love I have a calm, peaceful life, but you know,
I'm envious.
I miss the excitement a little bit sometimes. Yeah.
I can feel that.
Yeah. It's all
Yeah.
good. It's all good. I had 16 good years in LA. I mean, I lived it up, man. I worked in Hollywood. I definitely had a good time. Now I'm getting older. I got kids, you know,
Yeah.
gotta calm down a little bit for now.
I feel that.
Yeah. My
I feel
retirement though,
that.
watch out, dude. I'm gonna start a reggae band. It's all over. Retirement for me
That's
is
the
gonna
way.
be
Hell yeah.
off the chain. I'm
Hell
telling you.
yeah.
All right,
That's the way.
so desiccant packs, yes.
Yeah.
Oxygen absorbers, they're saying yes. I'm definitely we'll have to deep dive this one because now we're getting a couple
Yeah.
different
I'm
thoughts on
interested.
this. But
But
let me
I
tell you
can
this.
say
Hold on, real quick. So this week I was drying some fruit and I chopped it up 4 ways, and because it was a big fruit, it was Timbit. So I'm chopping up 4 ways and think, oh, this will be plenty. And I dried the thing for 24 hours and it still was not cracker crispy. And I'm like, God dang it. So I think there's also like an art to assessing how you need to, like, how much do you need to cut? Like, we love to get these big old fruits, right? But man,
yeah.
they do not dry
I
well.
don't.
They
Yeah,
don't dry well.
I love my big mutant fruits and I love to clone them, but when I generally I don't like the huge fruits. Like I get the 300 club and it's so
It's fun.
cool, but
Yeah.
yeah, I would much rather have a nice full canopy with, you know,
Yeah.
regular, yeah. But
Man.
going back to the desiccant pack, so
Uh-huh.
I didn't use desiccant packs for my samples, but I did use the oxygen absorbers, and I
Okay.
stored my samples in Mylar bags. And for this reason, we did come home with first place in alkaloid content. So it's biocysteine, neurobiocystine,
Okay.
yeah, and
So total
25th
alkaloids.
total alkaloids, yeah. And then
Nice.
I think we ended up ranking 25th place for psilocybin content,
Wow. Out of
but
500, over
out of five,
500.
yeah, it
Not
was
bad.
super cool. And
Not
then, but the
bad.
one that won the first place award was actually 31st in potency. So
Okay.
it's really interesting though, going over this data and seeing like the different dry methods, storage methods, and how they compute into
Right.
into the potency levels and whatnot. And if anyone has any issues getting that information, they want it, shoot me an email. I'll send it over in a Google Drive,
There you go.
no problem. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
think we definitely have to do that. I have a couple statisticians in my Discord who I should probably be like, hey, you want something to do? Can you find some correlations in this data? That would be
yeah.
great.
Hey, yeah, I need to jump in that Discord, get
Yeah.
active.
What
Yeah,
now?
maybe I'll just post it in the Discord.
There you go.
Or
Yeah,
can
I
I?
have a actual science channel that might be good. I also have a data channel. So that usually is for people who are like collecting grow data. They're more like the
Sure,
loggers, the people that like to log
sure.
temperature fluctuations and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome though. That's
But that might be a good place for it too. We'll see.
all
Um,
right.
but yeah, I think this really, with a more robust data set, there's more opportunity to learn more things. I am also currently trying to develop what will be a pretty large scale and fairly long collection of data to do some similar things here. Because at the end of the day, all these like one off, right? Like I grow a fruit and I go, hey, altitude, here it is, test its potency. It's essentially worthless data by itself.
It really is,
By
absolutely.
itself, it's
Because
yeah. I mean,
each fruit is gonna have,
right.
different, yeah. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not even useful. Yeah, for me, say I'm a grower and I grow I don't know, I grow the best golden teacher that's ever existed, and everybody wants my golden teacher. So I go, okay, here's a fruit, test it.
Yeah, yeah,
Useless,
yeah, yeah.
useless.
Once you get 20 or 30 samples in, though,
Yeah.
it's, I mean, but that's just not
I mean,
feasible.
yeah, you gotta, well, how are you selling it? You gotta batch test it. This is the other thing that's interesting to me is so, all these fruits are being prepped for this competition, but like what are the end product that's being delivered to people? Because a lot of these people are making uh let me think of all the things I've been given. Gummies, chocolates,
Sure.
Laffy Taffies,
Yeah.
little, lemonades and like all that stuff. So there's to me a huge opportunity to start testing potency and shelf life in those various medias. Like what shelf life chocolate versus gummies versus
Yeah, that would be interesting.
so that's a whole nother realm because that's really that's the end user realm. That's like where, otherwise
Yeah,
it's
and
very
I'm
abstract. You know what I mean? We're
definitely, I'm
learning.
wondering if it preserves more, like preserves the content, or if it like helps further degrade it. Especially with the
Great.
chocolates, because there's so much moisture in there.
Well,
Or
so when George Selhorn was on, he said so. One thing he thought was so fascinating. So this is a guy, biochemist, worked in cannabis and now doing HPLC for psychedelic mushrooms. He said it perplexed him why the cannabis industry seems to be gaga about gummies, right? Like cannabis gummies. And he said, but the mushroom industry is all about psychedelic chocolate bars. He said it's fascinating because the psilocybin is a polar molecule, so it's water soluble. So it would lend itself more to gummies. And then the cannabinoids are lipid soluble, so they would lend themselves more to chocolate. Now, I have since thought about this and thought, well, but maybe the chocolate actually preserves the psilocybin better. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. That's just some thoughts. But as far as
interesting.
the like uptake,
Yeah, that's a little backwards.
yeah, I think for the uptake, the gummies would be nice. I have not had a macro dose of a gummy product yet. I had a bunch of micros and tried to give it a
I'll have to
museum
send you. I'll have
experience.
to send you something. Yeah, I've
Okay.
been
Okay.
experimenting with gummies lately, and for the longest time, I thought that I mean, obviously, you shouldn't heat your fruits up to a certain temperature, or it causes degradation of the potency. But with this gummy tech, I think I pulled it off of magic-mycology.com.
Mm-hmm.
It's an awesome tech. Use lemon juice instead of water. I've seen some gummy tech with water. Uh, but and if you haven't tried lemon tech and you're trying to get there, like all the way out there, yeah, lemon tech's
Oh yeah.
it's
Yeah,
it's the way to
the
go.
uptake, it's the difference between, a long, slow ramp versus a whoosh.
Yeah, and then you save for, in
Yes.
my experience. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting that part, but yeah, I'll have to send you some gummies.
Cool.
See what's up.
I'll take them. Um,
Yeah.
yes, I think that's like kind of one of the next. So HPLC is becoming more commonplace. I think more people are coming into the space and not just being like, I'm a guy at home growing a few tubs, selling a few swabs, selling a couple plates. I think people are coming in looking to, step up to the plate and knock it out of the park. I have noticed people where I'm like, who the heck are you? But I can tell in 2 months you're not gonna be playing games anymore. Like, people are coming to play,
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
they're spending money on HPLC because they wanna know what they got. They wanna be able to say, "This is what I got. This is a good product." Um, of course, once you try it, I don't give a crap what your HPLC content is. Like, once I have an experience,
Exactly.
I will know what I think of it. I don't need that,
Exactly.
but
And the same is true for me anyway with cannabis. It's like the testing, they'll throw THC percentages up, and to me that almost doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. Like
Yeah.
it's the testimonies that if someone really likes a
Right.
certain strain, yeah, I'm more likely
Yeah.
to try that than the but the testing is necessary, especially for us vendors. That's what people are looking for
Right.
when buying genetics. Like, what am I buying? And so that's really what we've been
Yes.
focusing on is honing in our isolations with just making sure that everything we're selling is a well developed, well isolated, someone. Back when I started,
Like consistency, right? You're
exact
just trying to be
consistency,
consistent.
exactly,
Yes.
exactly. That's what
Yeah.
it's all about, and that's really where I'm at. It's just honing in.
Yes.
I know. I think is it Wombat? Someone in the community has really preached, having your few strains that you work with, and especially as a vendor, because it does take a lot of time and energy,
Right.
and diligent note taking, uh just to hone in a few strains. But when you're working with, and cultivars, when you're working with 25 to
Right.
45 different cultigens, and you're constantly yeah,
Right.
it's a lot. So
I
I
mean,
don't recommend it, but I love it. But I
that's a type of person, and that I would
yeah,
say that's the most
yeah,
common type of person for sure. But man, there's something to be said. Like, look at FUNGUY mycology, for example. You know, the guy loves
yeah.
him some apes, right?
Yes, he does. He's
He's
all
into
about the
apes.
apes.
He's taking good care of his apes. He's playing games. He's FAFOing. He
Yeah,
is making some really stable, really impressive ape isolations as a result.
that's what it's all about.
So what do you want to do? If you just want to be a guy who says, I got a bunch of stuff, and I tell you what, I know a couple guys that maintain pretty large, menus, and
Hmm.
I'm impressed. I mean, I know what
It's
it's
a
like.
lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work.
So they're serving a role because people, I mean, dude, the amount of times people message me in a day and they're just like, how do I get this strain? And have you heard of this strain? And okay, where do I get it? And so those people are important, but the people who are going to innovate are either the breeders who are crossing, who are double
Hmm.
swabbing, who are mono isolating, or the people who are the good old fashioned way, like we just heard Dave talk about again, about how do you isolate traits. And if you
Yeah,
work with that same cultigen over and over again, and you start going, okay, oh wow, this fruit, I'm gonna grab spores off that one, or I'm gonna clone that one, run it, and then grab spores off of that. If you keep
hmm,
playing those games, you can
you're
get
gonna
a
get something cool.
really consistent,
Yeah,
really nice. And man, I can't tell you how many people I have heard. I'm not going to name names of any vendors, but they see the pretty pictures and then they grow the fruit out and they go, "What the fuck is this? This is
yeah,
not the picture
yeah,
I saw." Right? Like
yeah.
that's
Like,
that's disappointing.
yeah,
Now,
for
if I buy
sure.
from Dave, I expect that. Dave has been abundantly clear, right? Like, I am a mad scientist of
Yeah,
genetics. You're just buying swabs. You're as likely to find something amazing as I am, but you're also
yeah,
as likely to have, a tub do some weird crap on me. Happens to me all the time. But man, I sure love it when I get something and it looks exactly like the pretty pictures that I saw.
yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But and that's the different. Well, yes and no. The difference between buying a swab and buying an isolated
Sure.
cultigen. But if that swab is coming from a nice isolated bin, it's
You
definitely going to, yeah,
You
yeah,
can. I mean, I've had plenty of swabs that absolutely delivered right away.
yeah,
And then I've had stuff like I have definitely loved working with Toke. It has definitely been more disappointing than not. I'm not running it constantly. I mean, I'm not a bulk grower. I'm not doing that much stuff, but I can tell you what, I definitely think that's a T0 plate send type isolation. Get that on swabs, send your
Um,
T0 plate, pheno hunt off the first grow. If you try to play any other games, which is what I tried to do out of the gate, it was the wrong play on that one. That one has so many variations within it
I'm
that you just
sure.
never know what it's going to do. Whereas other things, it doesn't matter. I could do 100 prints and every print is going to generate fruit that look the same.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
are valuable things to provide people.
Absolutely. But transparency is important.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. 100%.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, I just happened to catch you have a new logo. Now I know
I do.
you've had some other cool logos in the past, but it looks like your new current logo is pretty trippy. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Who made this logo for me?
I
This
think
was
one of my favorite people of all time made this logo for you, if
yeah,
I'm not
I
mistaken.
think you are correct. Oh my gosh, my
Yeah, P-Funk,
uh
right?
what is it? Was it P Funk? My brain is
Wasn't it?
so all over the place. Blah blah blah. Where is it?
I thought it
Where did he go? That's not his. It's Mycology Simplified.
Yeah, that's
Is
P-Funk.
that P Funk?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
P-Funk.
word,
Yeah.
word. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man.
He's
Dude,
awesome.
he's
He's just
the
chilling.
I'm telling you, P-Funk is like the guy you don't know is just the absolute shit. Like,
That's so funny because
yes.
I've spoken with him a bunch, and I've heard P Funk also like thrown around everywhere.
Mhm.
Maybe I have chatted with him on
Mhm.
Facebook
You probably
with
have.
that name. Yeah, but I never made the connection. That's so funny.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I don't know if
he's
he's
awesome
on
though.
I don't know what his name is on Facebook. I don't talk to him there. I just talked to him in Discord and Instagram, but yeah,
Oh, that's where it was. Discord. I've talked to him
he's a
in Discord.
he's a
P Funk.
monster grower. I mean, I don't think he grows right now. I think
Yeah,
he's
he can't
sticking to
right
the
now.
supplies, but he knows his stuff. He's helped
Yeah.
so many people grow. I mean, talk to Ginevra, who has been on here, and she can definitely grow some fruit. She will credit him to the end of her days, I think, as far as all that goes. So yeah, he's a good guy. He's a great businessman. He's a great advisor. He advises me on a lot of situations.
Oh, he's one of the
Yeah.
admins or
He's
moderators,
like
right?
my main.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
definitely my right-hand man for sure. Yep. He and look at this cool logos. Now I know he has a visual arts background, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, I saw he'd done one for That Is Ness. He'd
Yep.
done one for Ness and I hit him up. I was like, "Yo, can I buy a?" He's like, "No, I'll just do it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll just make it for you." I'm like, "Thank you." So,
He's a cool guy.
yeah, he's got a lot of swabs coming his way
He is a
for
cool
future
guy.
use.
Well, I like it. So you went to the cup. Now, did they talk about are they going to do this again?
From my understanding, they are going to do this again next year.
Okay. And is it
There's
going to be as
also
cheap?
that's a great
Because I
question.
thought it was amazingly cheap. So
It
cheap that I
was.
was like, "Ah, you guys aren't going to offer this price again, right? This is like a just getting your wet your whistle type of thing." But
Yeah.
those prices were amazing. I mean, if I had known how much it was, I probably would have submitted 30 things myself. I mean, it was
Yeah,
so
right.
cheap.
So so the grower pass was what, like 35, $40, and then
Yep.
it was you could submit up to 4 samples.
Oh, they did cap it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they did
All right.
cap it. And then it was $40 a sample, which is great pricing. Yeah,
That's a killer price. I mean,
it's a killer
that's
price
a
for
nuts price.
sure.
Now, I do know that as far as the HPLC goes, if you're so I was talking to George about this. I sort of talked to Jordan about this as well. When you're just this guy, and every once in a while somebody messages you and says, "Will you test my fruit?" and you say yes, and they send you the fruit. And then, of course, they don't want to wait 3 months for results, and you also don't want to sit on the fruit for 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of got to run it. But now every day that you're running your machine, you have to run a protocol and you have to run standards and you have to, calibrate everything. So you're going to use up these very expensive standards, which are like these lab grade purified, like, 99.97% pure psilocybin standard chemical
Hmm.
that costs like $200 for this tiny little bottle. So if you're doing a small run per day, right, it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like charging $150, $165 for a sample is not outrageous.
Yeah.
If you can run an event where where
Exactly.
500 samples come
Exactly.
in and you can run all those in the same day, or I don't know
Exactly.
logistically how many they can run, that's how you save money. So I I,
Exactly.
I say this because, hey, everybody out in the community,
Let's do
the
it.
more of these tests we do, the lower the price can come down. Not like, I mean, it will just come down because logistically it will be cheaper for them to run this. The issue is, how do you, as an HPLC testing service, how do you get these big batches in? This is what these cups are all about. This is
Yeah,
literally, I know they did them in cannabis left and right.
for
It's
sure.
going to be the thing
Well, it's
here.
also on the community, right? Like we could all come together, and I think
Exactly.
you and I don't know how much you'd want to go into that right now, but we've had some conversations about doing something like that, like trying to
Yeah.
get a pool of people. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do it. We're
I'm
gonna
in it.
do it.
I'm in it.
Yes,
Let's
we are
do
gonna
it.
do it, and we will talk probably next year. We'll get into what we're planning, but I really hope people get behind it because there is a lot of opportunity to learn a lot of things. I think particularly one reason I really wanted to have you on to talk is you placing so well for total alkaloid content. This wasn't just the old dick swinging, who has the most psilocybin in their fruit. This was the fruit I submitted had a lot of alkaloids in it, right? And it
Yeah,
was Haoli, is that right?
yeah.
Yeah,
Howley
Howley.
and yeah, Howley
Okay,
and Yeti Squat Knot. Howley did take the prize. Yeti
okay,
Squat Knot was really, really close behind though with
oh,
the
nice.
baeocystin. So it was interesting to see the
That
two
is
total completely different cultigens, and they both had higher
might be.
levels. I think the Howley had much higher, but
See, now you just got me thinking about other stuff of like, oh my God, and the like if you could just do unlimited free HPLC testing, all the stuff you could figure out is crazy. You could
right,
start really figuring out the actual difference that different amendments might make. But you got to have robust data sets. You can't do one-offs. Everybody goes, I did a
hmm,
side to side and I figured that out. No, you didn't,
yeah,
dude. You figured
yeah,
nothing
yeah,
out.
yeah.
You have an anecdotal story to tell and that you can make a growing decision based on that, but you don't get to be like, I got some science over here to tell you about. I mean,
Yeah.
I talk to people,
It's
you
a
got to
start
have,
though, right?
it's
It's
something, yes,
it's
but you
something.
have to have 100 data points minimum to have anything statistically significant. But this cup, I was like, okay, 500 test results. We're getting
Yeah.
somewhere. As this community grows and these cups, 2,000, 5,000 submissions, now we're going to be able to data mine and maybe start figuring some stuff out, particularly if people get on the same page about sample prep.
Yeah.
If you don't,
Sample.
then if you're sending in some soggy ass fruits and you're wondering why your
Yeah.
sample's not testing well, you answered your own question.
I think that's another that may be another aspect of the potency level. So some people will kind of waterlog their fruits, or by the time they pull their
Oh,
fruits,
yes.
you can feel the water concentration in there. Yeah, and especially with I do mostly monotub. I run everything, especially if I'm working on something, I'm running it in a bag and in a tub,
Okay.
side by side every time. But especially with these 1 to 3 ratios, spawn to sub, uh, I've I've noticed that if you let it go a little bit longer, that you end up sometimes. I mean, depending on the which flush it is and the moisture content of your cake, you're getting a pretty wet fruit. And I think that,
Yeah, there is that point, huh? Especially
yeah,
certain cultigens will really get this wet phase. And
yeah,
then once I get it, I'm
exactly.
like, "Oh, I'm not gonna let it go that long anymore." I
And
prefer them firm, man. I do not like them
you and
being
me both.
soft.
You
Yeah.
and me both.
Yeah.
But also, and you also have that bluing that starts to
Yeah.
happen.
Nope.
So from what, and this is straight from the altitude consulting guys. I'm not sure the validity of this, or I haven't done a whole lot of background research on them, but from what I understood from his presentation, is the more bluing you're getting in your mushroom, from not necessarily, maybe you have a fruit that just, Jack Frost just naturally has
Right.
that blue gill. But the more bluing that you get over time, maybe you didn't pluck it as quickly. That's the psilocybin converting to
Right.
psilocin, and that's, ultimately you want a higher psilocybin content and a
Yeah.
lower psilocin content.
Right.
And I think when you harvest, and how wet your fruits are when you harvest, it plays a huge role in
Yeah.
preservation of
Yeah.
the material, for sure.
Yeah. So I think I said this once before on the show, but there was an old trick, when you were trying to play the like look
The
how
300
much,
Club.
right? When you're trying to play the 300 Club game, you could have a
Yeah.
big fruit and then you could bottom water the day before,
Yeah.
let it suck up all that water, and then you
Yeah.
weigh it and it'd be like, whoa, that weighs so much. And it's just a game, but you're actually I personally think you're ruining the fruit.
Agreed.
The quality is
Agreed.
not there. And then when they get wet like that, they also tend to, well, for me, because I run MPG plus, so I have a bacterial blend, there's microbe activity in the cake. If I let my fruit get wet towards the end of their life cycle, it will shoot Pseudomonas straight up into them. So there'll be like an inch of like that brown color.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to play that game. So
Yeah.
yeah. I think one of the core concepts that it's hard for people to wrap their head around is this game is really, I mean, I can speak for cubes. I don't know if I can speak for literally every kind of cultivated mushroom, but generally speaking, once your cake is fully colonized, you're playing a game of evaporation. You're trying to, that
Exactly.
cake needs to readily, slowly, and steadily evaporate at the right rate that triggers
Hmm.
that fruiting
The
process.
pinning.
It's
Yeah.
just like in nature, right? A storm comes in. This is how it works in Ohio anyway. Storm comes in, it rains for 2 or 3 days, everything gets soaking wet, and then the sun comes out
Yeah.
and it warms up. And all of a sudden, fucking mushrooms
You got
everywhere you
mushrooms.
look, right? Because
Because
it
that
dries
moisture is
out.
allowing the
Yeah.
mycelium to climb around. It's like, ooh, we
Yes.
like this, and then yeah, it starts to dry out,
Yep.
and yeah, yeah,
Yep. So
love it.
that's that whole game, that just like a lot of people talk about, they talk about misting, they talk about fanning, they talk about bottom watering, and the ideal situation. Now, this doesn't happen every time for me, but it's happened enough that I know what it looks like. The dream scenario is that you have to do nothing. There's always a nice amount of condensation on the side of your tubs. Nothing, everything progresses at the right rate, right? Like everything's
Hmm.
moving in the right direction. There's not some weird temperature change. You're not doing this, you're not doing that. And it just stays in that ideal climate where it's very humid inside the tub or the bag, but not too, right? Like high
Hmm.
humidity, not oversaturated humidity. And if you can do that as your cake dries out, you're gonna get a banging flush.
Set it and forget it. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's why it's so worth people like you, people like me, people like a lot of people who've been on the show. Like we love to really fart around and dial in. We're obsessed about our field capacity. We're obsessed about where am I putting the bag? God dang it, I put the bag there, and what do you know? That wall was cold, so I didn't get a flush
yeah,
on that side because it didn't evaporate at the same rate as the side that was closer inside the house. And all these little things, right? You just got to think about those
exactly,
all the time.
exactly.
and then you're just obsessed. We're just going
Yeah.
right down the rabbit hole. It's how it goes.
Oh, I'm
Now,
getting into the science right now.
yeah.
That's yeah, fun learning. I mean, just learning about the different conditions and yeah, it's a fun journey. And Mexicanas, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
those are pretty easy, but
Yeah.
I always like to go a little bit over field capacity.
Right.
Actually, I noticed that, yeah, whenever I go, when I started growing mushrooms, it was always like perfect field capacity. You squeeze
Right.
it, you get like couple drops, you're good. Now I'm noticing that if I go a little bit over and I sterilize my substrate, oh
Yeah.
man, that's just, yeah, that's set it
Now,
and
now,
forget
do you
it
find that for
fully.
tubs or tubs and bags? Because for me, I find I can't
Tubs.
squeeze enough out of for bags. I need it like where not a single drop is left. Otherwise, I just had this where I did a run because I'm doing Ed's new method where I
You
oversaturate.
make the soup and squeeze it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so
the
I'm
that's the
doing that.
way.
And I'm just like cranking, Ed loves to talk about his forearms,
Yeah.
just cranking it till my
Yeah,
forearms are just aching, right? And
for sure.
um, but it's
The
never
bags,
enough.
I feel like the initial inoculation process in the bags. So I get all my bags from Milk and Mushroom Supply,
Cool. Okay.
and they're always super consistent. So I'm not messing around with that so much. But when I was noticing that I would get a lot of wet rot and
Yeah.
even sterilizing it for a proper amount of time. If uh if your substrate in those all in one bags is too, like, you have too much moisture, like, yeah, like you were saying, it's not going to work because of the method of having the substrate and the
Yeah.
grain. It's like you don't want your grain to be too wet
Yeah. I
because
mean, you want 60%, right?
yeah,
That's
exactly,
what old Eric
exactly.
Myers taught me. Yeah,
Yeah.
right around there. I know I did the test one time on my no soak no simmer, and I was at about 54%. So I figure close enough.
Yeah.
It's all good. I definitely agree with you. So I just did some using Ed's little snowball method. And after full colonization, I had like little pools of water around the edge. I had to actually go out in front of my flow hood, put it on like a lower setting, set some paper
Yeah.
towels out, dump all that water out, and
Mhm.
then fold it back over just because the bags don't want to breathe. I think that's why. I don't know. Have you seen those new unicorn bags that have like a long filter patch on them instead of it being like a little rectangle? It's almost
I
triple.
Yeah, I think I have seen those.
I
Or
think I might
I've
need to
seen
try that.
grow bags, like pre-made grow
Yeah.
bags. Yeah, that
Yeah, we
come
just
come
need
like that.
more. I just been folding I'm gonna have to, so anyway, I got to adjust my tech if I'm gonna do Ed's snowball method, which I do like. I am enjoying that. I think I just gotta get more water out of there.
Yeah, yeah.
I need to make a press or something. I gotta invent some sort of press to just
Ooh.
press it all.
Yeah, what could you do? You could do have you seen the pillowcase method? You
Yeah,
like put it all in a
exactly.
pillowcase?
Something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that. Yep. That
for
might be a
sure.
good idea. Now, speaking of Eric Myers, he just had this post this week, I think it was, some $1,000 winemaker's press where it like has a bladder that inflates with a pneumatic, device. And like, of course, Eric Myers, this guy is like got every
Interesting. Yeah.
$1,000 toy there is.
Yeah. Hey, more power to him.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'll have to check that out.
But yeah, I got to figure
Man.
out how to squeeze that sub out a little bit more. But
Yeah.
man, I'm lately, you know what? I've been, because the tubs, they're faster. And I'm not doing a big grow. I got my contamination dialed in. So
Mhm.
lately I've been like, man, this bag's taking a little bit too long for me. So I might start doing me some dub tubs again, see how I feel about that. Let's
Yeah.
go old school. See
Yeah.
what's
I
up.
like I like the dub tubs. It's weird. A lot of my like land race uh cultigens that I've been working with for a long time, I like to do dub tubs. Just for whatever reason, it
Oh, they kill
it
in there.
yeah, they just crush. But
Yes.
mono tubs for
Yep.
all of the GMOs, for lack of a
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
I
And
really think that especially if you get that cake pretty close to the top, right?
yeah,
And you put the lid on
exactly.
it, you got that CO2 just
Perfect.
choking out. And the minute you're colonized, you take that off,
Yeah.
flip it, wait for a pin set. As soon as you got your pins rocking, you put the dub tub on top of it. I mean, just everything about that works, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a reason that's
It
like the
works.
go-to. It just freaking works.
Yeah. Yes, it
Other
does.
setup, you gotta get a few things right for them to really work well.
Ain't
And,
that the truth?
and I heard somebody, I think it was in my Discord or maybe it was in the chat of one of the episodes. Somebody was like, "Why isn't the filter patch down by the cake, right, in a bag? Like the filter patch is like way up top."
So when I flip mine to
Wow.
fruiting in a bag, I'll punch a hole
Okay.
lower and just put like the tape.
Oh, okay.
The
Yeah.
I
knew
know that
people
there's
did
been some back
flips
and
and all
forth.
that, but
Yeah.
yeah, I bet you could poke a bunch of pinholes and you wouldn't even have to tape it.
Yeah, exactly. You can just take the tape off eventually. Yeah. Yeah.
I gotta start playing around with that because I gotta get these. If I'm gonna do this little snowball method here,
Yeah.
I just can't get it quite dry enough, and I can't do these tiny handfuls where I can get them dry enough. I
For
gotta do kind
sure.
of the bigger balls. So yeah,
For
I gotta
sure.
figure out some tweaks on those bags.
Ooh, I'll
But
brainstorm for you. I'll let you
but
know if I think of anything.
but man, I do not miss cleaning out tubs. I can tell you that.
Yeah. Man, that is like
Oh,
right now I have about 15 tubs just sitting on my back deck. I'm like, I'll get
yeah,
around to it. I'll get
it's
around to it.
yeah, it's not fun. That's not
It's
the fun
not.
part.
Yeah,
And then
cleaning, people don't realize that so much of mycology is cleaning. I mean,
oh god,
especially
yes.
if you're like a vendor, yeah, you have a lab, it's every day,
All the time.
all the time. Yeah,
Yep.
bleach everything,
Yep.
changing filters. If you're running, a business from your home, you got to make sure that the normal air filter is
Right.
changed, and the back of your hood filter is changed like
I
once a
know.
yeah. I'm pretty neurotic about mine though. I'm like, I probably don't need to change the back filter, like
Well,
intake filter, as much as I do,
well,
but
how often do
I
you
don't
do it?
get contamination. I do it once a month, once every, depending on how busy I am.
Uh-huh.
Like between once a month and once every 2 months.
Well,
If I'm like pouring a lot of agar, I'll
you're
change it once a
okay.
month. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
manual says every 3 months or when visibly dirty.
So my partner actually rebuilt this. We got it in an auction from
Okay.
CU, I think CU Boulder.
Okay.
And it was originally pushing air, or what, it was sucking air in through the filter and pushing it out of a different filter, but it
Oh,
has the adjustments, like whereas your flow hood has low, medium, high,
right.
mine has like 1 through 100. So I have to get out my little
Oh,
meter and
right.
like make sure I'm at laminar flow.
Oh,
But
that's cool.
but it's
That's
really cool,
cool.
yeah. But I don't have any like directions or anything like that. I'm just kind of.
Now, I just noticed, so all of us, right, we buy the little stands for in front of the flow hood, right? I just
Hmm.
noticed your pro move back there is you have two tables.
Yep.
Dude, that is
Yeah.
slick. That
It's
is
the
very
way.
slick.
It's the way.
I like
And
that.
I get the like a lot of people buy the deeper tables, or they'll just and you don't really need, you should be doing all of your work right in front of your hood anyway, if you're doing the laminar flow. But it's, yeah, this is working out nice for me right now.
It's a nice little
Yeah.
touch for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right, so what else were you gonna talk about? Talk about that. Oh, let's talk a little bit. So the fruit you submitted
Hmm.
were not air dried.
No, they were freeze dried.
All right.
Yes, the
Did they
fruits
talk about that?
they didn't, and I was a little bit
Okay.
disappointed. And even
Okay.
on the but even looking through the raw data, like
Hmm.
the second place winner for total alkaloid content, his and here's the other thing. It's like when people are submitting their samples, like was everyone so diligent to like ensure that they're putting the correct information down? Because according to the raw data that I have, the second place alkaloid winner air dried his samples,
Okay.
which is really interesting to me. I mean,
Right.
that's to air dry, like, essentially, you want
Oh,
to get that
meaning
warm.
not dehydrated.
Yeah, I mean that's why,
Oh,
because
just like
because
let it sit out.
exactly, on here
Oh.
we have like, dehydration,
Oh.
freeze drying, and air drying.
Oh,
And
interesting.
so that's kind of throwing me for a loop. I haven't really seen any correlation between like potency and the drying method, which to me seems a little, it's interesting for sure,
Right.
because uh and according to them, it all comes back to, the water content,
Right.
the
Yeah.
life of the sample, yeah, the and the storage of the sample, which makes sense. But in the past, I've understood that the faster you pull that water out of the sample, the more potency you're preserving, essentially.
Right. Yeah. So the thing that both George and Ed had talked to me about, Ed just beat a dead horse. He was emphatic. He was like,
Yeah.
"Dude, it's the water. The water,
Yeah.
right? What is water? H2O, right? It is the oxidizer. It is where the bad stuff happens." He's like, "You just want to get the water out of there."
Yeah. Mm.
And so that's why, and then also if you look up like melting points of psilocybin, it's like almost 400 degrees Fahrenheit. It's insane. And so like he's like, just don't worry about that. There was a study done where there's like a subtle degradation in potency as heat increases, but again, you don't really understand if it's the heat or if it's the acceleration of the drying method that is pulling water out sooner, but it's hotter, and it's just really hard to isolate each factor out to know which one is really doing what. But
That
for
makes
sure
sense.
the data does show that oxygen is enemy number one.
Yeah.
So whether it's from water or just the air around it, that's enemy number one
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Which is
Absolutely.
why I got my little vacuum press or vacuum sealer thing, and I bought one of them little attachments. So I store most of my fruit in jars, and
Nice.
I put the desiccant packs in, and I pull the air out so it's in a vacuum. I just reground up some fruit that was like a year and a half old, and gave it a try, and it was feeling
Yeah.
like the day I ground it up. It was definitely doing its job. So I'm a big
That's
fan of all
good.
that
That's
stuff.
good.
But man, when you're growing in bulk, that all those little things I can do, no problem, that gets a lot harder to do. Right?
Sure.
Like it is harder when you're growing more mushrooms to do all
It,
that.
it is. And my issue is I'm I will never run, like, at any given time, I have at least 5 or 6 different cultigens
Right.
going side by side. I'll very, very rarely do, 2 tubs of a certain, of any one cultigen at a time, because really what I'm doing is I'm trying to isolate,
Right.
and
Yeah.
like, yeah, like we were talking about, work on that. So it's nice, I still come up with, no more than, a few. I think I've gotten, the most I've ever gotten was like a little over a quarter pound. Maybe, no, maybe it was a little closer. I've had a few like pretty big tubs where I
Right.
got like a half a pound on a flush, but that's not something, just depending on the genetic that you're running, that's not
Yeah, with the
something
right
that.
genetic, you should,
Exactly.
you,
It's easy
you
if you're
could get
running
a
penis envies.
third of a pound, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I know, I think I got buddies who tell me they like to pull about a pound off a 366 quart tub. So
That
that's, yeah,
yeah,
about a third. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, that
It all
makes
depends
sense.
upon what the genetic is for sure.
For sure.
Sorry, I just heard my dogs
Uh,
just went crazy upstairs. I'm like, what the heck is going on up there? Anyway, they're fine. Now, so speaking of freeze drying, I got to point this out. This has nothing to do with mushrooms, but these guys right here, I'm not gonna say the brand name. I don't want to like get, I don't know,
Candy.
whatever.
They're
They're candy.
candies.
You guys know what these are. They are amazing. And you have an Etsy, right, where you sell these?
Yeah, I do actually. It's
Yes. Buy them.
good AF. Yeah, all one word, good
Good
AF.
AF. They
Yeah.
are. They are so good.
Yeah,
Now, what?
yeah, they are.
So besides mushrooms and these colorful rainbow, candies, what other things are good in a freeze dryer?
Let's see. So I've freeze dried everything. My favorite thing to freeze dry is pineapples for sure.
Okay.
Like just fruit in the
It's like
freeze
a
dryer
chunk of pineapple.
is
Okay.
yeah. Well, I'll cut it up so you have to like cut everything perfectly or else it's like it gets kind of weird. But I've
Like it
saw
has to be the same size, you mean,
well,
or
no, if it's like too thin, so I have a lot of trouble with mangoes.
okay.
I mean, sometimes it's right on, but sometimes you'll like cut it too thin, and then it's like it doesn't pull the moisture out properly. Which you'd think
Weird.
like
Yeah.
yeah, you'd think that the thinner it is, the more moist, the easier it'd be to pull the moisture out. But I think it's like something with the heating, and as it's
Oh,
pulling the moisture out, it just turns both pineapple and mango actually, if it's not the right thickness, it doesn't come out right. But I'll freeze dry hamburger helper. That's
okay.
I yeah, just like random
Okay.
things. Ice cream, I freeze dry a lot
Yeah,
of
sure.
different ice creams. um I've so around the holidays I'll always I'm fortunate to do some side work with different cannabis growers in Colorado, and I'll source some activated concentrates, and I'll make starbursts,
Okay.
can of starbursts, but then I'll put them in the freeze dryer. And so if you put a can or if you put a starburst in the freeze dryer, it gets it depending on how good a day your freeze dryer is having, it kind of puffs up. But once you melt those starbursts down, and like
Okay.
and maybe add the oil, that could be a secret too. These are like, it's like cotton candy. It's so wild. It's so wild
Ooh.
what happens.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's the most like
Nice.
like
Nice.
think of the best freeze dried gummy you've ever had, and like make it like 10 times lighter. It's I can't even describe it. It's addictive.
I like it.
So try it at your own risk if you have a freeze dryer.
Man, man, I fell victim to one of these scammers on Facebook Marketplace. It seemed like I can tell when something looks obviously like a scam, but this was like, oh, I'm getting rid of my freeze dryer. It's only $890. It was like a $3,000 freeze dryer.
Yeah.
But the whole story was like, I'm moving and I just don't have time. The classic, my loss is your gain. And I
Hmm.
was like, man, after eating these candies, I need to go get me one of these. And the guy responded, "Oh yeah, sorry, I'm moving. I'll email you tonight," and then never. And I got so sad. Yeah,
Bummer.
I need one. We'll see. I don't have the money for one right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
They are not cheap.
they're expensive.
Yeah. And then of
Which
course you don't want. You're like, well, I'm going to pay $3,000, and I'm only going to get this little tiny, window of shelving that I can cook on. But for
yeah,
$5,000, I can get a bigger one. So then
exactly.
you're like, well, crap. If I'm going to spend $3,000 for
Yeah.
that, I might as well spend. Yeah, and then you're just like, I can't do this right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, trust me, don't I know?
Yeah.
Uh which so the freeze dried candy, I have my little Etsy shop, and every once in a while people, for whatever reason, people love freeze dried cheesecake. I forgot to
Okay.
mention that. That's like my
Ooh.
best selling Etsy. Like once
Oh,
every 2 weeks, someone will buy a bunch of cheesecake.
nice.
Uh, but
Do you just put the
my
whole thing in, just the whole cheesecake?
no,
Okay.
it's actually like quite time consuming. So usually I'll freeze the cheesecake first because it's easier to work with and cut and like stay
Okay.
sanitary. And I'll cut it into like bite sized chunks, and then I'll put it in there. But you have to also like space everything on the trays, and it's kind of tedious.
So there's a skill to this. You can't. It's not just like
Yeah.
cooking something in the oven. You gotta. There's some tricks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always put extra time, because it's supposed to automatically sense when things are done, and I just don't think I don't think it has that completely down
Now, I have a
yet.
question. So, can you freeze dry gummies? Like, so can you make
Yeah. Oh
mushroom
yeah.
gummies and then freeze dry those?
So yeah, so that's my next
Okay. Oh man.
yeah, I'll be trying
I
that
bet
soon.
that is real good.
Yeah, I will definitely be trying that very soon.
Nice.
So I make the Etsy thing is super on the side, just kind of trying to make the freeze dryer pay for itself.
Right.
Basement-culture.com.
Yep.
That is the number one. That's
where it's
the bread
at.
and butter. That's where it's at.
All right.
And we're doing a sale for the rest of December, 20% off. Just use code MycoGeeky at
All right.
checkout.
Hold on. I'm gonna pull it up. Let me pull up.
All right.
Here we go. All right, so click here to shop discounted. There we go. Agar cultures, choose your variety, take your pick. And then I love how you got the setup, regional, classics, hybrids, albino,
Yeah.
leucistic, exotics. Yes, that's great. That's very clean.
Yeah, Danny works
great.
super hard on this website. This
is clean. This is nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I definitely like it.
Thank you.
You have an affiliate program. I might need to join that.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Very cool. And then let me pull up because there's a couple photos on here too. I had some pulled up.
Yeah, we're still working on. So there's kind of that disconnect. He'll be working on the site all day, and I'll be here working all day, and he doesn't have an iPhone. Like, I mean, no shame on people who don't have iPhones, but so our communication and like me getting him the photos that he needs for the website has been a challenge. So yeah. So if there's ever a cultigen that you're looking to buy and you're like, hey, can I see photos of this? If you make a submission on the website, I take care of the bulk of our questions and submissions myself. So I can get you, whatever you need.
Sweet. So speaking of that, here I was just like on your Instagram recently, and man, your rusty whites look badass. I'm liking these a lot.
Yeah, Rusty's, man, I've been working with Rusty's from the very beginning, and I kind of chilled out on them for a little while, brought them back, just restarted. I think I've restarted from spore maybe 5 or 6 times in the last 5 or 6 like 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I do love those Rusties. They're a beautiful fruit, and they're the only fruit. So when I'm harvesting, I'll gosh, I don't take enough photos for Instagram. I'll usually just eat like fruit, just to like as a weird ritual kind of thing.
Sure.
That's Lucifer. That's my office manager.
All right. Sporting your wow, they did not chintz out. Those are some nice little metals there.
Dude, they're heavy. I was at my dad's house. He's like, "Is that real gold?" I'm like, "No, Dad. This thing is like heavy. Like there is no way." He's like, "It might be." Like tickets are $40.
And that's
that's
a classic cat. Look at taking it right from you like it was never even yours to begin with.
Yeah. Well, she's the office manager, so she feels entitled.
I gotcha. And then now I'm gonna pull up. This is you, ecstatic.
Yeah.
What an awesome event. Basement culture caught first in alkaloid content. Just want to say I love this community. It was awesome to connect with so many people. And yes, I cut my own bangs last minute because that's how we roll. Okay. Cool. It looked like you had a blast. I'm trying to see if you had any other pictures. Maybe not. Okay, that's fine. What else we got?
Oh, I think it's like a swipe to the side thing. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Oh, my bad. Let me go.
Oh no, I mean, I don't even know what other photos are on there.
Oh, it is.
Honestly,
right.
I really,
All right, look at that. It's like you're at the Oscars, man.
I know, dude. It was So I'd actually smoked a joint with some awesome random old like libertarian man right before this started, and I was just completely yeah, I was
You're
so
just
stoned when I
like
went on that
blazed
date.
and like,
Yeah.
"What? I have
Like,
to walk
oh, so
now."
many people. Yeah. It's like, wait, I think that's my number. That's the
Nice.
it was I kind of hope I understand why they did the
Right.
competition like
They
this
had
with
to
the
make
grower
it more
numbers.
anonymous. Yeah.
Exactly. But in that they also never put up like uh an official like what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
Who's
these are
who?
the winner. Yeah, these are the winners, like not, even just by grower number.
Dude,
Um
I know that company Altitude, like they've been in this business for a hot minute. They've done all this
yeah.
in cannabis. So they
Yeah.
surely have lawyers that are advising them on yeah, how to run this cup without getting in
Sure.
trouble. So
Interesting.
yeah,
That makes a lot of
that would
sense.
be my guess.
Yeah.
Oh, look at Mama
Oh
S
yeah.
trying to
Yep.
see if it's real. Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that. It's real.
Yeah.
Very cool. I don't
And
know
that's
who
my
this
partner
is.
Danny.
Oh, cool,
Just
Danny. Okay.
we're just having a
Yeah.
blast.
You guys do not look like you're bored. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Look at so shiny.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's
Okay, cool.
really shiny.
More pics. That's what I wanted to see.
Yeah.
And then just fruit, 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 guys.
Yeah. Fruiting all the
This
time. And again, if anyone has questions about a cultigen and wants photos, I have. Yeah, dude, that
dude,
outro, I
this
just
one cracks me
busted
up.
out laughing.
All right, you guys have
Yeah,
to
that was
check
the
that.
best
Yeah.
video editing for
Casey,
sure.
Casey had a little segment not too long ago. You'll have to go check out. Look at all these fruit. Yes, 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 yes. Dang. That one
That
just
was
said, "Get out of my
Dude,
way."
yeah. So I consider this like a dud bag. This was my first run of Ghost ever,
Uh-huh.
and I ran it in a bag, and it just
I mean,
definitely interesting.
that
So I
one is just insanity.
Yeah, it
Wow.
really was insane,
Okay.
huge, and not waterlogged actually. That was
Nice.
yeah,
Now
but
see, I can tell you experiment. Here we have the thickest cake I've ever seen in a bag.
yeah,
And then, well, no,
yeah,
I've seen other people do that. But then here,
yeah,
more modest cake.
yep,
Yeah. Okay. And I
yeah.
mean,
Got
these are just flawless.
Oh yeah. Love the hillbillies.
Gotta love the hillbillies. Yeah. These are also looking pretty
Yeah,
solid.
that's a thick penis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one
Yes.
wasn't actually a full flush. There was like a little hole in the middle, so my photography skills had to
Yep.
come into play. Yeah.
Gotta do it. And then
Yep.
okay, so here's the Dansky our
Yeah.
logo from a hot minute ago.
Yeah.
Nice, nice,
Shout out to
nice.
Dansky.
That's the homie.
Yep.
And wait, what did we spell out here? I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. A fun night for sure.
Yes. Speaking of that, great t-shirt tonight.
Oh, thank you.
I'm a big fan. I've
Thank
seen
you.
seen
You
him
and I
at
both.
concert, I think 3 times, and my favorite, this is a memory I will never forget. I'm like I'm like in front of the mosh pit. I have to go through the mosh pit to get to the front. I'm like right in the front. This is in like oh, it's in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I forget the name of the stadium there, but anyway, like at one point in time, he's just, rocking out on his guitar and he just like casually spits off stage. Really just got like saliva in his
Yeah.
mouth from performing and just being badass. And he like spits and then almost instantly later, the whole crowd decided to just spit on him. But because he's Marilyn Manson, he doesn't
Yeah.
cry about it. He's just
Yeah.
like the baddest ass rock
Yes,
star of
he
all time.
is.
And he just like shakes it off his face and is like harder into the groove. And I'm
Yeah.
just like, dude, this guy is
That's
intense.
Manson.
Yeah, he's cool. One of my buddies was a radio DJ in Grand Rapids, and he got to hang out with him after a show. And he said he was like just wearing jeans and a t-shirt after like being completely like demonically
Sure.
outfitted up. and he's just like kind of wiping some makeup off his face, just in jeans and t-shirt. He's like sweaty, and he gets a chance to talk to my buddy, and he's like, "Yeah, man, really great concert, man. I mean, you just leave it all out on the stage." And he goes, Marilyn's like, "Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that." Like he's just so like
Yeah.
calm and
I've
demure,
heard that he's a very mellow-mannered.
chill dude, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have not. I remember playing one time I'm in college, my parents come to visit me in my apartment. I'm playing Beautiful People, and my parents, because at the time I was in a band, I was producing a lot of music, and they're like, "Is this yours?" And I'm just like messing with them, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is mine." And they're like, "I love this." And I'm like, "No, you don't.
That's
You like
awesome.
hate Satan
That's
worshipers, and you're
awesome.
like super Christian, but I just
Yeah,
messed with you because you thought
yeah,
it was your
that's great.
son." It was fun.
Oh man, I love Marilyn. I think the first time I ever saw him live was Manson's Slayer. Gosh,
Mhm,
I was young then. I was like maybe 15, 16,
mhm.
and I missed his prime.
I
I came up
didn't, yeah.
too late. But I
I
mean, I
saw
loved him all the same. Yeah, I
he
man,
was just, I
he was
mean, I don't
amazing.
know why he fell off. I think the
His
whole, like,
new stuff,
it was
anything after
fine.
like Lest We Forget, I just haven't
It's
really
fine.
listened to a lot of it. Is
Yeah,
it
it's
fine?
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't know what happened. I think just in general, music, my whole take on music in general is like when you're broke and starving and you just want to prove yourself, that music is so
It's
amazing.
the fine. Yeah.
And then the minute you get rich and you get your fancy little fucking Beverly Hills house and you're
Yeah.
eating at Whole Foods every day, it's just gone.
Yeah.
Whatever
Same for
thirst,
comedy.
comedy,
Yeah,
um, rappers are absolutely this way. They're so
for
street
sure.
hungry and aggressive, and
For
they're just
sure.
gritty. And then
Tom McDonald, dude, that's the sad. I mean, I love Tom McDonald, kind of controversial rapper,
yeah,
but his you could tell like once he started making money, his first like when he first came out, it was oh brilliant, like poetry,
yeah,
just
and then
amazing. And then he just kind of he's kind of a
yeah,
little watered down now. Still great,
yeah.
still
Dude, what
still
they
love him.
do, I mean, I worked in Hollywood. I watched it happen. The minute you do one thing that makes Hollywood money, or the music industry money, or whatever it is, the minute you make an industry money, they're just knocking on your doors. What else you got? What else you
Yeah,
got? What else you got? And
yeah.
they're just pushing, pushing,
Writers,
pushing. Oh yeah, dude.
writers too. Like they'll
Oh
come out
yeah.
with a brilliant book and then
They want
you
another one
sign
like
that
that.
contract. Yeah, and you can just tell, Robert Greene is a brilliant writer, but he was slapped with all of these contracts and he just had to push out all of this
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That's why guys like James Baldwin, like I don't read James Baldwin, but he doesn't even write his own books. He's
Yeah, oh,
like
I
he
believe
he
it.
writes by committee. He's got all these writers. They know
Ghostwriters.
his style.
Yeah.
Not even, yeah, just like a fleet of people writing for him,
Yeah, so
and
wild.
he just slaps his name
A
on.
lot of celebrities do that. I think like Will Smith had oh, he had an author that I really loved write his book
Oh,
and
all those
I think it was
bios.
Mark.
Oh God,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
they're all
yeah,
not
they're
written
all
by the people.
yeah.
Will Smith
Which
didn't write
I
a
mean
book.
makes I guess it makes sense that,
Yeah.
it might not be a very good book if it wasn't written by, whoever it was
Yeah,
that wrote it.
I don't want to read a book written by Will Smith. I
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, me
I
neither.
don't. I
Me
hardly
neither. I
want to
mean, who
listen to a
knows?
rap written by Will
Who knows,
Smith, let
right?
alone a freaking, yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, true
man. No,
story.
thank you. Oh, dude. So I used to go hiking in the mornings, in LA at this place called Runyon Canyon, and you would just see all these celebrities there. And so I saw Exhibit, I saw
Nice.
Q-Tip there a lot, and like they're all just they're like they just got, their little water bottles, and you're just like, yo, man, this is like not street at all.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
about your persona vibes with what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah.
Like, sure, Reese Witherspoon just walked that way, and she's in her little yoga outfit, and it makes sense. I get it. But like Exhibit is hiking Runyon Canyon at 6 in the morning. Like, what the fuck is that all
Right.
about?
That's awesome.
But
Hey, that's
that's
great.
what they do, man.
True that.
Once they get that money,
Look at Snoop Dogg, dude.
yeah, they get comfortable. They get
Yeah,
comfortable for
they do.
sure.
God, who could blame them?
And then it's all gone.
Yeah.
Then it's all gone. And then they run out of money, and then in their 50s they do a reality TV show.
Yeah. Oh,
Just it's
yeah.
all just selling out, man. It's one sellout after another. That's what they do because people
What?
love money. They love it
Yeah.
all
Yes,
the
they
time.
do. And what you worship will destroy you
Yeah, pretty
in
much.
the end. Yeah.
Well, then mushroom's gonna destroy me because
Yeah. Right. Oh,
that's
see,
where it's at.
that's where with the mushroom, it's more of a. It's not a deity so much as a teacher. See, when
Exactly.
you're.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
True
I
enough.
was listening to your interview. Oh, I forget what her name was,
Oh, Rachel
but
Harris,
maybe it was Rachel Harris.
the book author.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
you made a short with her that came up for me just the other day, and she was talking about the how how we've held
Yep.
psychedelics. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, man. Dude, and so I had a few people comment on that, and they were just like, oh, like they're just like, fuck spirituality, bro, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, sure, you if that's
people
how
will
you
hold things with their capacity that they're
yeah,
able to.
if that's how you want to roll with this, roll with
Yeah,
it that way. But you're
yeah,
probably 22 years old,
yeah,
and when
for
you're
sure,
40 and you have a little perspective, you might roll with it a little different. That's okay.
for sure.
I was definitely not looking to be educated at 19 when I'm just like drinking and smoking.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like not where
for
I was at.
sure.
Can't teach me nothing back then. Right. Yeah. Youth. Right?
Youth,
Youth.
you gotta love it.
It's yeah.
We
You
always
do.
think like we know everything. I was thinking about this today. Like,
Yeah.
wow, I'm 32 now, and I feel like I'm just like waking up. But when I was 29, I felt like I was just waking up, and when I was 25, I felt like I
Right.
was just waking up because you're just constantly metamorphosizing or
Yeah.
evolving,
You're
and you need to
evolving,
worry when you stop.
and your perspective, if you're a seeker, your perspective is always improving.
Yeah,
It's always
shifting.
getting bigger, it's shifting,
Yeah.
whatever it's doing.
Your
But
consciousness. I saw a TED talk once. Lulu. Sorry. I saw a TED talk once where they talk about consciousness, and if you have a golf ball sized consciousness, your view of the world is
right.
going to be, yeah,
Yep.
it,
So
so
true.
just keep growing, keep changing, keep growing mushrooms,
Keep growing mushrooms and
keep growing mushrooms.
keep using mushrooms and keep
Yes.
integrating your experiences from mushrooms. If you just go, fuck, bro, that trip was rad, bro. Like if that's as far as you go with it, then that's
Yeah.
as much as you're gonna get from it.
Exactly.
I mean, I just talked to that Dr. Rick, and this little paper from the psychiatric and therapist community, whatever, and they have documentation of studies where it's like there is an afterglow effect from having a macro dose, about 6
Yeah.
weeks. So cool. If you want to just do
Absolutely.
nothing, then cool. Every 6 weeks you have a trip, and it will improve your life. It will improve your mood. It will improve your attitude, all that kind of stuff. But man, if you integrate and you're actually trying to learn something from these trips and you're
Yeah.
trying to establish set and setting, sky's the limit.
It's the method, right?
Yeah.
It's taking them in the dark, silent room, or with the coach, and the music and the blindfold and the
Whatever you
Terrence
want to
McKenna's
do.
been
It can be anything. If your set and setting is like being on a cruise ship, sitting on an inflatable
God, I would
the
freak out.
right, like fine, do that. But have a set and setting. Don't just
Amen.
bah bah bah, right? Like
Amen.
do something
Yeah.
more. I feel like
Be intentional.
be somewhat intentional. Say, what do I want from this experience? What I'm gonna do. Now, some of the true psychonauts, they're operating on another level. They're always open, right? There's no resistance to the trip. And they're in a constant flux in and out of these altered states of consciousness. And some of them are doing something else, and it's also cool. I'm not going to name names, but I know people who are like this, and they are sophisticated, and they are absolutely, meeting beings from other dimensions, and they have wisdom and knowledge. Um, but I wouldn't say they're formally integrating. They're not going through a
Certainly
therapy
not.
process, but they're doing some version of that themselves that is beyond, it's not just recreational for them.
Sure.
It's the real psychonaut.
Who was I talking about earlier today? Aldous Huxley.
Yeah.
I think he was considered like psychonaut, right?
hmm
He like, yeah, dropped LSD right before he died, or like as he was dying, like
That would
that.
be the way to do it right there,
Yeah,
man.
that's
If I know when I'm gonna
for
die,
sure,
yes.
for sure.
Macro dose. That's
Yeah,
the ultimate peace out right there.
amen.
Probably DMT. I probably
Yeah,
because
yeah.
DMT feels like you're dying anyway.
But
So
yeah, exactly. They say that, or it's hypothesized that when you die, you have a
there's a
massive
big
like
release, yeah.
dump. Yeah, yeah.
So imagine if you also, right in that last moment, also
Oh
had
my
like a
gosh,
nice EMEsh rig
I
and you just
can't.
one hit 50 milligrams and then boom, you're meeting
Oh
the
man.
seven beings like instantly. That's the way to go right there.
Yeah.
Yes. Or die in your sleep. That's
Yes.
probably my second favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to die happy. Like I feel like when we die, our brain. I
Yeah.
mean, depending on how we die, like we have however many seconds of brain activity after we die. I think this was in that movie Waking Life, of the
Yeah.
philosophy movie. Yeah, and what if that is heaven or hell? Wherever you are in your mind when you die,
Right.
or whatever you're holding on to.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that could be your heaven or hell. So I just want to
Man,
be happy.
have you ever seen the movie Jacob's Ladder? It's an
I
old
have.
movie.
Oh, it's been so long. That's
So
that
so
Stephen
that
King, right?
movie,
That's a
what's that?
trippy movie.
Yeah, it's a
Uh,
trippy movie, but do you want to know
yeah.
what that book really is? Or that movie is really uh an adaptation of the Tibetan Book of the Dead. And the concept of the Tibetan Book of the Dead is that there are these earthly things we don't want to let go of. And so, some is like love, and I don't even remember the different symbolic. I forget what it is. But anyway, if you watch that movie, that guy's actually dead the whole time. And the movie, all these little moments that he has are him letting go of ultimately the love interest is the hardest for him to let go of, but he finally lets go of her, and then he can finally actually die.
I'm gonna go back and watch that movie.
And
It's
it's
been too
so
long.
cool. If you like
Yeah,
thinking
it's been.
about like the set and
Oh,
setting
I
of
do.
death, then yes,
Oh,
that
I
that
do.
that's the movie for you for sure.
Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, I see that a lot. So I'll be honest. About the only thing that actually scares me besides fighting Mike Tyson is probably just not existing anymore. Just not even the dying, but just being gone, just being dead.
Yeah,
I'm not really into the heaven and all that kind of stuff.
sure.
I just think I'm gonna die. And so that scares the crap out of me. But I will say that since becoming a nurse, working at the bedside, taking care of a lot of old people, a lot of people dealing with terminal illness, a lot of people that are just like approaching their last years, they all say the same thing. You just get tired. If you're old, this doesn't apply if you're like a 24-year-old dying of leukemia, but if you're old, you get tired and you are more accepting of death. And
Yeah,
so that's why I keep reminding myself, okay, don't worry about it, geeky. By the time you're that old, I mean, think how fucking tired you are right now. Imagine how tired you're
yeah,
going to be when you're 85. Yes. Okay.
yeah,
I'll probably be wrong, though.
exactly. And hey, who knows? We don't know.
Shit, they
There's
could
so much.
figure out.
I don't
Yeah.
really subscribe to the heaven and hell either, but
Yeah.
there's so like I feel like a connectedness, right, in everything.
Sure.
It's like
Yeah.
it's there's gotta it's probably gonna be lights out on you though, like
Ashes
on
to
the ego
ashes.
and the body.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dust to
for
dust. Right.
sure.
I mean, I do believe that we continue on, but for
Not
me, it's more like
us.
a scientist thing. It's like our molecules aren't going anywhere,
Yeah.
but these days, look at what we do to our dead. They're in a box that's
Box.
in a
So
vault.
weird.
right?
Yeah,
Like,
it's so
so we
weird.
don't even return to the earth anymore. Not me,
Yeah.
man.
I'm not
Cremate
doing
me.
that either.
Nah, I want to
Yeah.
return to the earth. Put me
Amen.
back in the earth.
Have you seen those like I mean, I'm sure they're exorbitantly expensive, but the mushroom coffins, you can be
Hell
buried
yeah.
in a coffin made out
Yeah.
of mushrooms that will
I'm sure
compost
I'm
your
sure that's
body like
Paul Stamets'.
rapidly.
Yes. That's
Yeah,
got to be
yeah.
Paul Stamets'
It might
business.
be. It might be. Yeah.
The other cool one, you can have yourself compressed. You can have all your ashes compressed into a
Turn into a
diamond.
diamond. Yeah.
That's
I've seen
cool.
that too.
It's kind of
Seen
trippy.
that. Or you could just donate your body to science and live in a, what do they call it? Like a, I read a book about it once where you just lay like your corpse is like put into a field so they
Oh
can
yeah, where they
study like,
study the decomposition.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't know if I
That,
want that. That's a little weird, but
yeah, it could be a little weird, but
yeah.
I mean, you're not there
I mean, I
anymore.
really don't care, but I'm just
Yeah.
thinking of the people who
Yeah.
come after me.
Yeah, for
Dude,
sure.
did you hear I just saw on I think it was Instagram, apparently some woman donated her husband's body to science and then somehow found out that the government bought the body and blew it up for some test.
I've heard I heard a story about that
Oh
happening to
my,
like an older lady.
oh my God.
Yeah, I have heard a very similar story, and I don't know how it got back to like
I don't either.
the son or whatever, but that, I mean, yeah, that's
How it got back is probably some
uh,
young soldiers like, is that grandma? Boom,
oh
gone.
no. Oh
I
no.
mean, that stuff's
Maybe like a
weird,
leak
man.
to like TikTok. That's so, yeah.
But
It is strange.
if you think about medicine, the only way we used to, right, cutting into bodies, we didn't do that stuff. I mean, maybe the Egyptians did, but there in the beginning there was resistance to medical doctors getting to even like perform autopsies or do just basic, right, exploration, like what does a human
Yeah.
look like under their skin and all that stuff. So somebody had to donate their body. Some it was usually prostitutes and
Yeah,
criminals, but
sure.
um yeah, like that, right? We got to get a little morbid to figure some of that stuff out. Or even with drugs. At some point
Yeah.
in time, we got to go, who wants to try this shit?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll pay you.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll pay you,
We'll
or we'll
pay you.
just
That's
do
all it
it.
takes.
Yeah.
This might kill you. You
Yeah.
might become suicidal and try to jump off a bridge,
Yeah.
but we will pay you $85 a pill.
Yeah. Man, there are
People
people who
go,
do that for a living.
let's do
Yeah.
it. Let's do it.
Yeah. Human guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Um,
The things we do for money.
right.
I won't even get into all the new things people are doing for money. It's like
Oh Lord.
everybody's doing.
You've seen the NPC, like the TikTok NPC thing. It's so strange. I think I saw it on Joe Rogan recently.
NPC.
Yeah, they'll so I guess in I don't really play RPGs. Like, I'm only like first person shooter video game person, but there, so in role playing video games, there are NPCs. You'll go up and like talk to them, and they'll just say the same things over and over.
Okay.
And there are kids on TikTok who will, or I mean adults also, who will be NPCs, and if you give them like a certain amount of money, they'll like say different phrases or certain. It's very strange. We're living in a very strange world.
Man, that's so weird.
Yeah,
I mean, I did see the one about the Japanese guy who's making $100,000 a year getting hired to just exist with you.
I mean, dude, that's straight boss mode. Like he figured it out. Yeah, I saw that.
And he has all these.
Also.
Yeah, he has all these stipulations. Like you can't ask him. You can only ask him simple questions.
Yeah.
And you can't really get to know him. You can just ask him basic things, and he doesn't have to talk to you if he doesn't want.
He doesn't want a relationship with you. He's just there to like be there.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
More fascinating.
Someone to have dinner with.
I want to know I want to get to know the people hiring this guy. Like, who the
well, so in Japan specifically, I forget what it's called, but their younger generation, and this has been going on for well over a decade now. The younger generation is really they're just completely shutting themselves off from society, and this is like an epidemic in I believe it's Japan, where young people are just just deciding to completely, and there's a name for it, just completely shut
Oh.
themselves out. But there's just a lonely, I mean, there's a loneliness
Then they get
epidemic
lonely. Yeah.
everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe these are like people trying to reintegrate back
Ah,
into society, or but
right.
the loneliness epidemic is yeah, I just listened to Ready Player One for the first time. If you haven't listened to that book or read that book, it's
Uh-huh. I watched the
amazing.
movie.
The
I
movie's
cheated.
awful.
I
Like
cheated.
if you read the book, like the movie is just
Oh.
like, what did they do to the
Oh,
book?
really?
Anyway,
I mean, I didn't
yeah,
hate the
it's
movie, but okay.
I if I would have just seen the movie, I'm sure I would have liked it. But when you read the book,
Oh, yeah.
it's a special book. It is
Okay.
very special. But they kind of touch on the epidemic in Japan, and so I looked
Oh,
a little
yeah.
bit deeper, and it's really actually a thing. Yeah, where kids are just
Yeah.
shutting themselves off and
I
playing
mean,
video games.
so Japan's very nationalistic. There's a strong urge to conform, and I do
Yeah,
know. In film school I studied a bunch of Japanese cinema, and a lot of it is like the old people are afraid of the young people because the young people don't want to conform. They don't want to fit in. They don't want to do
interesting. That's a
the
tradition.
normal traditional social rules, right? So yeah, that all makes sense. That definitely jives with what I know about Japan, but I didn't know they were so dang lonely that they are just
Yeah,
hiring people to stand next to them.
yeah,
Seems a little
yeah,
weird. Like, oh my God.
yeah. It's
Not that we're any better.
scary. Yeah, it's
We're out
scary
at
where we're heading.
we're out just on our phones, like on
Right?
dates. I can't
Oh,
tell you how many times I'm out at a restaurant and I see two people obviously on a date and the amount of time they're just on their phones, and I'm like, bro, this is your chance,
yeah,
homie. Like, you gotta get in there. You gotta charm this
for
girl.
sure,
Get off your phone, dude. This is
for
not how you
sure.
do it. But they don't know the kids these days. This is all they know.
I know.
This is how they talk. This is how
And
they
what Gen Z, Gen Alpha, like it's all they will know, and it's going to be very interesting to see uh where society is in 20 years, where it's all they know.
yeah.
And it's yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm here for it.
We get to watch
But
it
at
all
the same
play
time,
out.
yeah, exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
I'm I'm gonna tune into that show. I'm gonna
Yeah,
watch all the
yeah.
episodes. We're gonna see
Me
how
too.
this plays out. It might get a little spicy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we talked about mushrooms. We talked about the psychedelic cup. We talked about freeze dryers. We talked about all sorts of good stuff. And then we went on a whole bunch of tangents at the end. That's good.
I think people are gonna listen. Hey, if you
Yeah.
listen to this all the way through, just comment down below and be like,
There you
"Yo, this
go.
is totally like Joe Rogan. You should do this more often." But
Yes.
yeah,
Now, so I have had a couple people mention. So when Dichotomous Keys was just on, he was like, he mentioned, I think he mentioned the Swab Gods episode, and he was like, "Man, I just like that episode because I just felt
I
like I was there hanging out with you."
yeah,
So
yeah.
yes,
No,
yeah,
I remember that. I completely agree.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
Sometimes when we do the pre's, the like hanging out beforehand or hanging out
those are the
afterwards,
best.
those are good too. But there's a
Yeah,
little shade gets thrown every once in a while, so we can't
sure,
exactly share all
sure.
those. But yes, I agree. We should probably do more
For
of the.
Patreon members, $20 a month.
There you
Just
go.
kidding.
The unreleased tapes.
Yeah.
Find out what Geeky really
Right.
thinks about. Oh my God, that's funny.
I haven't witnessed that much shade, but
Nah,
boys will
it's
be
all
boys.
good. Dude, you know what's so great is these days people are coming in so fast and so furious. People don't even got time to get mad at people anymore, which is
Yeah,
great.
it's nice.
Stay in your
It's
lane, dude. Just do your
yeah,
thing. If you're gonna spend
exactly.
all day worrying about that guy, you're just wasting your time.
Or just like get mad and either get over it, like, or confront the person and get
Or do
over it,
something
or
about
even
it.
if you have like yeah, just like find some
Yeah.
way to like get the bleep over it. I did
Who else
really
should have
good
said
with
it?
the cursing.
Yeah, me too. I think I said 3. I count them when I do them. I, we're good. I really
Yeah.
don't. For a while, people are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're swearing too much. Just stop swearing." That
That
wasn't
last
it.
episode I did with you, I felt like you had to like super cut it up all like, and I'm like, oh my God, I
No,
was
I just
cursing the whole time.
yeah, it's all good. Man, you should hear me. I swear in front of my kids. My kids look at me like they just give me this
Yeah.
look like, bro, you just swear way too much. And then my 12-year-old now, I have to monitor her phone and she's taken after me now. she learned
Yeah.
she learned how to do it. But I mean, come
Hey.
on, dude. When I remember in first grade, I remember going, I know ass, I know dick, I know hell, I know shit, but I want to know
Yeah.
all the swear words. This was like in first grade.
Yeah.
So
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah, it's just fuck.
And I imagine you're probably raising pretty intelligent children. They'll
Oh, I
yeah.
hope, yeah. I
Yeah.
hope. They're smart. Do they want to do their homework? No. Kids these days, let me tell you what. So back in when I was in school, if you were smart, that's all you had. So you did your schoolwork. You wanted to
Yeah.
get all A's, right? You maybe weren't the most popular kid in the school, so that's what you had. And then the dumb kids just didn't, and they didn't care because why am I going to care about a thing I'm not good at? And it all made sense, right? And then everybody in
Yeah.
between. Now, even the smart kids don't want to do the homework.
Yeah.
I, I,
Well,
I
it seems like the curriculum is changed,
it's
hugely, and
garbage.
yeah, yeah,
It's
it's really
bad.
unfortunate where our education system's at,
Yeah.
but
Oh my God. And then my daughter will be like, all that teacher does is just give us this to do and then sits on his phone for a half hour. And I'm like, in your
wow,
class?
I
Yeah, like what the hell? And we're not in a
yeah,
crappy school district. We like specifically bought the cheapest house we could in a nicer school district just so our kids would go to a good school. And
yeah,
nope, guess it doesn't matter.
seems
Everybody's
like
addicted to their phones. Doesn't matter
yeah,
now.
seems like people are kind of giving up in the school system too with all of the. I mean,
Oh,
I can see it from both sides, from the kids and the teachers, and how everyone is just.
yeah,
We have a lot of problems to face, but I think
dude.
we can all just come together and unite and agree to disagree on some small things.
Yeah, we don't even have to we don't have to unite as in like become one. We just
Exactly.
have to go,
Get along.
we need to iron this out.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
to figure
And we
it out.
do. There's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
to iron out.
Well,
But
yeah. Well, I'm sure we'll periodically be able to talk about more of that stuff. You might be
yeah,
right. Maybe
sure.
people want to hear just random people talking about nothing.
Yeah.
I can
And
do that.
everything.
I
Yeah.
can do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I like listening to that. But
Yeah, okay. We'll see. Maybe that'll
sure.
be another spin-off channel. Geeky talks about whatever the fuck he wants to
There
talk
you
about. All
go.
right, there you go.
There you go.
This week we have so and so talking about salami sandwiches. I mean, what are they doing with salami?
Do
Right?
you
I can
realize
do
all of
that.
the nitrates in salami?
It's a nitrates. Yes, it is the nitrates though. Fuck
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
nitrates.
100%. They're
Oh my
bad.
God. All right. Well, thank you so much. We'll do this again. Can't wait to see how you do in next year's cup and all the cups. And I hope there's more cups and we're just going to cup out all day
Just cup
long.
it
Just
out.
cup it out.
Yeah.
Yes. We need more data. We need to figure more crap out. This HPLC is that. If you guys have
Yeah.
not watched my HPLC episode, scroll back, there it is, HPL chemist. You can learn a little bit more about it, see what we're talking about. If you're just like, what is HPLC, there's a podcast, you can go watch it. If you know what it is, then you know what we're talking about. It's gonna be it's gonna play a role. It's gonna hopefully
Yeah.
help us figure some stuff
Absolutely.
out. It'll be good. All right, well, thank you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Again,
Oh yeah.
basement-culture.com if you want to check out some of her stuff. And then she's on Instagram, and that is, let me make sure I'm getting it right. Also,
Lowercase.
basement, all lowercase, basement_culture.
Yeah.
Yep, those are the socials.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Kiki. I really
My
appreciate you.
look, man, you send me these. You send me these. How am I? How am I gonna? How am I
Bribery.
not gonna be nice? Yes. And you just, I mean, 25th out of 500, yeah, we're gonna have to talk
I
about
was
that.
not expecting to place at all. That was
We
it
gotta
was
talk
awesome.
about that. Yes. All
It
right.
was
Well,
luck
well,
too. Just
well. Thank
lucky.
you so much. Hope you guys all had a good time, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. See ya. All right, guys. That was Casey Strange of Basement Culture. Uh, just gabbing it out at the end there. That was good. We were just vibing. I do this a lot after the podcast is done. Chit chat with the guests, just kind of chill. Yeah, maybe we need to do that on the episode. Let me know what you guys think. Did you like that? Were you going the whole time? Why are these guys talking about mushrooms? I came here. Like, just let me know. Give me the feedback. Let me know what you think. All right, so what do we got next week? Man, you know what? I got like 3 guys that some fun guys, some cool guys. I've been dying to get these guys on the show. December is probably the worst month to try to schedule these guys, but for some reason that's how it worked out. Geeky's just, maybe I wasn't thinking about December all the way through here. Maybe I should keep December a little bit more simple, but I didn't. So anyway, next week might be somebody super fun, super rad. It might be one of the homies. It might be somebody I don't even know yet. We don't know. So we'll see. I got about 7 different people trying to figure out when I can get them on the show. So only the Ouija board knows, guys. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you guys soon. And as always, go grow some mushrooms.